Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. So in this video we are going to solve the problem product of array except itself. So so this is a medium problem and the problem states that whenever they give us an input array uh, like nums, so the output that they expect is that it should be a product of all the other elements without itself. So that means is for 1 the product should be 2 into 3 into 4, which is 24. Similarly, for 2, it should be the product of all the other elements, which is 4 into 3, 12 into 1, which is 12, and so forth. So a simple solution would be to multiply all the numbers and then divide with the current number. But they specifically told us not to use the division operator, and the solution must be in linear time. So the way we would solve this problem is using prefix and postfix arrays. So what I mean by prefix and postfix arrays are that we keep track of the current multiplication when we go forward and when we come backward, and then we use those to get the product of the array except the current number. So this makes sense when I give an example. So let's consider the input. Let's consider the generic input a comma b comma c comma d, and let's consider the output. So for this input, the output would be for a. The rest of the product would be BCD. For B, it would be ACD. For C, it would be ABD. And for D, it would be ABC. So the way we would solve this problem is that we traverse the array in such a way that I'll first create my prefix array by keeping track of the current multiplication. So what that means is for the first iteration, this would be A. For the second iteration, I'd multiply A with the next number B, which would be AB. And for third iteration, I'll multiply C with the previous multiplication, which is AB. So that would be ABC. Similarly, for the last element, I'd multiply D with ABC, which would give ABCD. So this is how I would form my prefix array. For the postfix array, I do the same thing, but I do it from the reverse of the list. So initially the element would be D, and then the next element would be D into C, which would be CD. Similarly for B, it will be BCD, and for A, this will be ABCD. So once I form these two arrays, how these two arrays help me get my current output is that for any element, for example for BCD, I can get the product of BCD by multiplying the previous element in the prefix array. So here we don't, because this index is 0, we don't have a previous index element in prefix array. We multiply that 1 with the next element, which is at index 2 in postfix array. So that is how I get BCD. Similarly for ACD, the index is 1, so I multiply the number which is before this index, which is the index 0 in prefix array, which is A, into the next element in postfix array, which is 2 here. The index is 2, which gets CD. So that's how I get ACD. So this is how we solve the problem using prefix and postfix arrays. So this solution again requires two multiple arrays, so which would lead to a linear space complexity. So we have a solution to avoid this and then do it only using two variables, which would lead to the space complexity of linear. So instead of having these two arrays or forming these two arrays, we can do them simultaneously while iterating through and then keeping track of the current multiplication. For example, keeping track of A, AB, ABC, and ABCD in one variable known as prefix, and then keeping track of D, CD, BCD, and ABCD in another variable known as postfix. So how we would do that is, this is the input. This is the output. I'd have another answer array which has all ones, and then I'd have my prefix and postfix to be 1. So I'll be using these variables to keep track of the current multiplication. So in the first iteration, what I'd do is I'd multiply my prefix with the answer in the first iteration, and this will lead to 1, and then I'd multiply my prefix with the current uh, number in the current iteration in the input array. So that would mean the prefix would go to A. So this is how I do my first iteration, and then the second iteration I multiply my prefix with the answer, so this will lead to A, and then I'd multiply my postfix with the current iteration number in the input array, so that will be AB. Similarly, for the next iteration, I'd get AB here because I multiply my prefix with the answer, and then I multiply the prefix with the input array for the current iteration, which would be ABC. And then moving on, I multiply prefix with the answer, I get ABC, and then I multiply the last element to the prefix, I get ABCD. So in the forward pass, this is the array that I have. Now I'll be using my postfix array to calculate the rest of the multiplication. So here I have a postfix variable. So what I do is I multiply postfix with the current element from answer. So in this case it is 1. So that is why I have ABC here. And then I'd update my postfix with the current number in the input array. So my postfix would be D. Moving on. Similarly, I'd multiply my answer with the postfix. I get ABD. I update my postfix with the current number, which is C. So I get CD. Moving on, I multiply my postfix with the current number, which is ACD, and I multiply my postfix with the number in the current input, which would be BCD. And then I update this value with BCD, and then this return ABCD. So after the backward pass, this is the output, and this output matches our expected output. Let me show you how to code this in 2 iterations. So as we discussed, we would need 2 variables. One is prefix, comma, postfix, and initialize both of them to 1. We'd require an answer array, which would be the same size of our input array nums. So this is sorted. So I'll just traverse this in forward direction for I in nums. What I do is let's iterate via index of length of nums. Answer of I is equal to answer of I into my current prefix, and I update my prefix from my nums array. This will take care of the forward pass. For the backward pass, range of this is how I iterate through my array from behind, and then I do the same thing with postfix. And then postfix equal to nums of I. At the end, I just return the answer array. Just check if this code works. Okay. So yeah, the solution works. See you in the next video.